Are you ready?
I'm very much so. Yes.
Excellent. I couldn't tell if you were saying testing or tasting.
Tasting the pain.
When we did this sound check, tasting the pain.
Eh,
What kind of pain? Where?
shoulders.
What? Why?
Today it's shoulders and glutes.
That's before you've exercised, though. How can you have pain before you've exercised?
Okay, I have exercised yesterday.
Did you?
Uh-huh. Yesterday was the full body day. See, I don't know the days of the week anymore. I just call them by the type of pain that they induce.
Oh, okay.
So Monday is leg day. It's the worst day of the week. Tuesday is boxing.
I don't understand that way of exercising. I really don't. I don't understand that.
What?
The fact that people mark the days of the week by the muscles that they train.
What do you not understand it? What do you not understand about it? I think it's very simple to understand.
Or maybe it's just too simple for me. maybe that's the problem. I don't get it.
Well, it's easy, you see, because you need to give the muscles some recovery time, but you don't want to lose the whole day. So what you do is you train a different muscle group every day. So if I train my legs on Monday and then I train my arms on Wednesday or Tuesday.
You make it sound like they're not part of you.
Shut up. If I train my legs on Monday and I train my arms on Tuesday, then my legs are relaxing and recovering on Tuesday.
See, that doesn't work for me.
They've done a lot of hard work on Monday, so they need a little break.
That's far too distracted for me. I prefer disconnected. I prefer a more holistic approach.
But it's still holistic because I'm still doing body weight and I'm still doing plyometric exercises, and it's not like I'm not sitting in the gym and only exercising one. Well, I do sit in the gym on Saturdays, but it's not like I'm sitting in the gym every day and only exercise one single little muscle or big muscle on the machine. I'm still doing full body exercises. So when I'm doing those push-ups on Tuesday, I'm still employing those legs. And I shouldn't use that word, should I? Because I don't pay them.
You're the only person in the world who employs their own legs.
So I'm still using legs, but I think I got that from my French. Anyway, I'm still using the legs.
Why? Do the French use their legs?
I think the French use the verb employ for, in the sense of using.
I'm going to employ my brain.
Yeah. So
okay.
I'm still using my legs even though they have the rest day. So I'm still training my core during every single exercise. Basically, I'm using my entire body. Only I'm putting the stress on more stress and more on one part of the body. So today I've got sore shoulders because
it's just too complicated.
I was doing push-ups yesterday.
After saying it was too simple earlier, now I'm saying it's too complicated.
Ow. Yeah. It's not. It's very simple. I need to go to the loo. Can we pause this?
Absolutely. Let me hit the pause button. Are you back?
Yes, I am. I'm back. Excuse my interruption.
Quick as a flash. You were.
That's only because I had that alarm on my phone set to 6:15.
What's that got to do with it?
Sorry?
What's that got to do with anything?
Well, it woke me up in the toilet.
Or did you fall asleep?
Nah, I'm just joking. It was supposed to be a joke. You're not laughing.
It's not funny. Falling asleep on the toilet is not funny.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, God knows what could happen.
Your mum woke me up again last night.
Making weird noises.
Yeah.
She has got these battle cry noises that she makes.
Yeah.
Like an old door.
I'm always worried and annoyed at the same time. I'm kind of worried about her, when she makes battle cry noises.
Well, it does sound like she's in a lot of pain for a couple of seconds, and then she moves on to the next thing.
Yeah, it's slightly confusing and slightly worrying as well. Anyway.
Well, it was funny when she farted yesterday and followed it by saying, "Oh, listen to me."
Yeah.
Which is not how you...
It's not what you say.
It's not what you say, is it?
Yeah.
It's not. It's not, unless you're a
Jasmine.
labourer on an oil rig or something. Yeah.
That's true. I just imagine a big, heavy, muscular guy.
Yeah.
Saying that in a husky voice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And laughing and opening a pint of beer.
Yeah, the Fellowship of Men. I'm not sure they're allowed to drink on oil rigs.
Women do that too, though.
What, drink on oil rigs?
Yeah.
So
No, say things like that. And
What?
open pints of beers.
With their teeth.
Well, say things like that. It's not just men. It's not just the fellow men that do that. It's also the fellow women that do that.
Well, we started with a woman.
Yeah. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. I mean, like, why should it be okay for a oil rig guy and not for a PE teacher? You know?
Yeah. I used to have those moments in those one-to-one sessions in the same room with people where you'd really want to let one rip. But you couldn't. So it kind of either was released slowly
And carefully
over like the space of a minute, where I would have some strained expression on my face.
lifting one of your butt cheeks inconspicuously.
Yeah, stretching one. Yeah. Or I wouldn't be able to control it, and it would sort of come out as a pop. And I would, of course, pretend that nothing had happened at all. You're spilling your coffee there.
I can imagine you'd be like, "Excuse you."
No, you wouldn't be able to reference it at all because you'd lose the thread of the conversation. So,
I'd probably feel worse if the other person farted, because I would feel bad for them. Because I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, poor guy, he must be so embarrassed," especially if they were a teenager.
Well, I had this group of teenagers,
As
you know, and
the boys.
The boys.
Oh, they would just laugh.
Well, they would see no reason to control it at all, and they would just let it straight out. And eventually,
they'd probably pat on their backs and.
Eventually, I had to make a rule, because it happened so often. I had to make a rule that they had to leave the office if they wanted to fart. And like randomly at various points in time, they just get up and walk out. And then come back 30 seconds later with a big smile on their face.
Yeah, you could probably still hear it from the outside, right?
Well, you could. It would echo down the hall. So I imagine all the offices could hear it.
I wonder that the owner of the office didn't put up a sign on the wall, "No farting in the halls."
Well, what would happen is one of them would fart, and then one of the other ones would fart,
Uh-huh.
because
Because why not?
well, because one of them would have been holding it in until the other one farted, and then they were like, "Oh, thank God, somebody else has farted. Now I can fart." Well, there you go. Of course, women don't fart. Right? Girls don't fart.
Mm.
Girls are sugar, spice, and all things nice, right?
We do fart, but we fart powdered sugar. That smells like violets.
What?
We fart out powdered sugar that smells like violets.
That sounds painful. Maybe you should see a doctor. I'm not sure that that's a normal thing to do.
That's just what women do. In case you didn't know.
It's all news to me.
It is pink. The powdered sugar is.
Yeah, and if you could take a picture of it, you'd see rainbows.
Yeah, probably.
So there you go.
Yeah.
I've got the Elton John song "Rocket Man" going around my head, and I don't know why.
Because it's
It's a good song.
directly connected to farting. Maybe. I'm a rocket man.
Babka's a rocket woman.
Yep.
Oh, listen to me. She goes down the hall.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I didn't make it. She tries to leave the room.
Oh.
There you go.
Well, it must be hard when you're getting old. I remember my Jadko used to fart a lot as well. I would always laugh at his kids. It was okay because he was deaf, so I didn't hear his laugh. He was basically like Babka, only male.
What a ridiculous topic.
Yeah, I know.
Completely ridiculous.
He was really cool though. I mean, he was like 82, right? And he was striding up and down the forest and picking mushrooms. You know, it was the classic Slovak Jitko.
Or just 82 but acting like they're 18.
Yeah, exactly. He'd go out in his garden and like dug through half of it. Oh, it's February, I have to dig. So he'd be out in the garden in February if the ground was unfrozen, digging in his garden. And of course he didn't have a cultivator or anything. He'd do it all by hand and spade, right?
What the fuck is a cultivator?
Oh, you know, it's the rotavator. It's the kind
It's
of...
a rotavator, it's not a cultivator.
Well,
it's
it's
a
both.
rotavator.
Both of those things exist, and you both use both of those things for turning the soil. Only I think cultivator is slightly... doesn't go as deep as rotavator. Doesn't matter. What matters is... that
technical things.
yeah.
A cultivator does not go as deep as a rotavator.
Anyway, my Jadko didn't have any of those. He had a spade and a foot.
And a fork.
And he would just turn the soil
As
by
you do.
hand. Yeah.
He didn't plough the land with an oxen or a horse.
I don't think he would fit one of those in the house.
Usually the garden's outside.
Yeah, I know, but what do you do with the oxen after they've ploughed?
I don't know,
the
invite
land?
it in for a coffee? I have no
Exactly.
fucking idea.
And they couldn't fit in the kitchen, so he couldn't do that. Anyway. So, No. He was very active. Until he wasn't.
Oh, yeah, well, as we have discovered recently, this week, in fact, people are very active until
They aren't.
until the nurses give them too much of the wrong medicine and fucking kill them. That's a bit extreme.
It's a bit extreme, but... yeah, when shit goes down, it goes down really quickly, though, at that age, obviously.
Imagine it comes out really quickly as well.
I didn't mean real poop.
Yeah, I know. I was just being vulgar for a second.
Yeah, you were. That's unlike you. Ha 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 ha. You gave me a nice present today. Not today.
What?
This week.
Today like started like
Yes.
15 minutes
Yes.
ago, and I'm like, what?
yes. There's coffee here.
You're
Yes.
welcome.
Yes, thank you very much. No, you gave me a nice
You're
present earlier this
welcome.
week. It was exercising DVD, which is
It's
great,
not, it's
but
not a DVD.
the thing is, I don't know how to put it on.
Okay. let me give you the lowdown on how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Let me think. What's the easiest way to do it? In fact, the easiest way to do it is actually
Ask you.
askew. What?
Ask you.
What? You know what? You know which box is the Xbox, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you press the eject button, take the disc, put it in, close the eject button, and that is actually basically it.
Oh, and then just
And
poops in the action.
Excuse me?
Poops in the action.
Poops in the... What the fuck are you talking about? Poops in the action. What?
I didn't say poops.
You fucking did. You
I
fucking
said-
listen back to this conversation. You said poops in the action.
I said poop in the action.
What the fuck are you talking about? Fucking poop.
That's an onomatopoeia. That's
Oh, the noise that it makes.
yes.
Oh, the
Dings.
It is
Clicks.
no, you're right. It doesn't ding or click. It does poop.
There you go.
There you go. You're right. So, yeah, and it's on the HDMI 4.
4.
So,
You mean HDM14?
oh yeah,
Ah.
oh yeah. People need to seek more counsel than they do. And what's that got to do with anything? So I was trying to sort out that monitor for Jedco.
Sorry.
Long story.
No, not if it's muddy console though.
What?
Not if it's muddy console.
They don't seek counsel from anyone except themselves. They don't do anything anyway, so that's just irrelevant. Except fleece people for more of their hard-earned cash, and provide less services consistently. A backwards organisation, if ever.
And
there
fiddle
was
with your brown bins.
They do. That is not a reference to poop, but anyway. There's so much in that. I got to get back to the technical stuff because it's important. But have you noticed on the local Facebook page that people have started taking pictures of poop everywhere? Have you noticed that they're taking pictures and posting it, and it is quite possibly the most vulgar thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
They're taking the piss.
Yeah, I know. It's like the people who don't have dogs were taking pictures of where dogs had shit all over the paths, and
Yeah.
they've shit in the park, and they've fucking shit on every path and every road everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And people took pictures of it saying, could you please, clean up your mess? And
Mhm.
the dog walkers have started taking pictures of their own dog shit and putting, well, probably not their own dog's shit, but somebody else's dog's shit, and putting it on and laughing about it.
Mhm.
If that is not the most vulgar thing I have, that's South Park retarded mentality. Adults taking pictures of other people's dog shit and putting it on the internet and smiling about it and laughing about it, not because they want to have a clean society, because they're saying, it's okay, look, everybody does it. That has got to be the lowest IQ thing I've ever seen. Really. It is so incredibly vulgar. It is so incredibly offensive. And it is so incredibly wrong to do that. Oh, look, here's a picture of some older poop that I saw today. It's like, really? You're adults? And you're the best thing that you can do with your day is walk around and see some shit and take a picture of it, not because you want society to be cleaner, but because you actually think it's funny.
You did just do a lot of fart jokes at the beginning of this, you know? I mean,
I didn't make any specific fart joke. I pointed out the fact that there's an older woman who lives here who has a stomach problem, which means that she every 30 minutes farts, which is a fact.
yes, I know, but you did laugh a lot about farting, different people farting, and
Well,
I mean,
no, I pointed out I pointed out a true story, which is the fact that I had a group of teenagers who, for some reason, I think it's school lunches, to be honest, farted a lot and had to leave the office space because you don't want the office space to smell of somebody else's fart, especially if you have to work there.
it's okay
I
if
mean,
it smells of your own, though.
You tend to be able to put up with your own shit more than other people's. That's one of those things about life.
Anyway, what I'm saying is that yes, it is getting on my nerves that people are overdoing it slightly.
I started taking pictures of rabbit shit
Poop.
and putting it on there and saying, "Look, the rabbit shit. So why isn't it not okay that my dog shits?" And then they started taking pictures of people had the little bags for cleaning up their dog shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they clean up the dog shit in the bag and then they leave the bag there. I mean, that's insane. And
I think there's some kind of consensus going on about that situation, that somebody probably dropped it by accident because they dropped it in the middle of the road.
yeah, but you don't see what I see when
Left
I
it
go
behind.
jogging, which is the last time I went jogging, I'm not exaggerating, there were 7 or 8 bags
Where?
that I saw down the beach,
Where?
on the path.
Just on the path.
Yeah, like people had cleaned up their dog shit and just left it there.
Take pictures of
And
it.
then somebody wrote on the Facebook page about that,
Uh-huh.
and then some dog owner complained that they didn't want to carry the dog shit around with them and there was no bin to put it into. So that's why it gets left.
Well, don't take your dog out then.
They justified it.
If you can.
Don't have a fucking dog. I mean, look, if some person went and shit on the path, it would be disgusting. But it's okay for a dog to shit on the path? I mean, where's the common decency? Where's the common sense? That if a person did it, it would be vulgar and horrible. But because a dog does it, it's okay? I mean, that's wrong. That's patently wrong.
It's not the only thing. It's also that if you put it in a bag, it's worse than just leaving it there. Because you're leaving a bag in the nature. You know, plastic.
Oh yeah, well, arguing that super bad is worse than bad is one of those sort of false arguments.
I'm just
I get your
pointing.
point.
I'm just pointing out that it's worse to bag it and leave it.
It's like but it's like the argument, should we hang him or stick him in the electric chair? It's like, it doesn't. They're both bad. It doesn't really fucking matter.
Yeah.
They're both wrong, probably. So.
Look, obviously, if the dog poops somewhere not on the path, then who cares? But
And then somebody else complained, well, the last time that I was out for a walk, and they wrote this on the Facebook page, it's there somewhere. Last time I was out for a walk, I couldn't find a stick to flick it off the path.
oh dear. So what?
Yeah, so other people's kids, it's okay then that other people's kids walking down the path will stand in your dog shit and stand in the disease and whatever else is sort of mixed in there and get it on their shoes and then take it into their home, and it's all wrong. It's just all wrong. It's all wrong, and it's just the debased level that society has dropped to, where people, you know what? You know what it leads to? It leads to what happened at New Year with that person just like shitting in somebody's garden. Yeah. Which and then thinking it's okay.
I think that was somebody extremely drunk. I think that when you're extremely drunk, you think anything is okay. You know.
Well, no, that's the first time in my life I've ever heard of an extremely drunk person shitting in somebody's garden. I mean, I don't know what...
I've seen an extremely drunk person sleeping in somebody's garden.
Well, there's a difference between sleeping in somebody's garden and shitting on their lawn, isn't there?
Hmm.
Well, I think
not when it comes to the level of self-control, really.
Well, no, there's still a level of... There's still more self-control if you're sort of not shitting in someone's garden as opposed to shitting in someone's garden. I think, anyway. Obviously, the person was desperate.
It's a lovely topic that you started today.
It wasn't really me who started it. I mean, the topic has been consistently posted on a daily basis on the local Facebook page for the last 2 to 3 weeks. Look, every second post is about it.
I know.
And the fact that people argue that they can't do anything about it, so it's okay.
Nobody argues that it's okay. I haven't seen anybody arguing that it's okay.
Well, it's a subconscious argument that it's okay, which is like, well, there's no stick to flick it off the path, so I can't do anything about it. Or there's no bin to put it in after I've scooped up the poop and put it in a bag, therefore I have to leave the bag there. I mean, they're all justifying their own... It's not crime, it's just...
Now you can see why this country is a nanny state, right? So if people make excuses like this, then the reaction from the council is, okay, we will give you more bins. Okay, we will provide you with signs that say, please bin the poop here, or the next dog poo bin in 25 meters on the right, or you know, slow down and pick up your dog's poop and carry it please in a bag, twisted clockwise and double knotted.
Yeah, how to tie the bag.
Because people are like, oh, I didn't know how to tie the bag, so the poop fell out. Sorry.
It's
So I don't know which one came first, you know, right? Like are people so used to everything being, you know, served on a plate and stuck under their nose, so they don't use their brain anymore? Or is it the other way around, that they make excuses, so the council reacts, or the local government reacts by putting everything under their noses so that they can't make excuses? I'm not sure which one was first, but...
Well, you know that governments have been caught doing things that they shouldn't be doing.
Well, of course, probably every
Such
single one in the world.
Such as, and these are real examples, such as experimenting in hospitals by pumping gas into the air ventilation systems to see what effects the different kinds of gas has on the people in the hospitals.
I don't know about that.
You don't know about that? Well, that's something that has happened in a number of countries.
Like what kind of gas?
Poisonous gas.
So they would poison their own staff?
Yeah. To see what effect it would have. Yeah, you can go and search it, and you can find examples of stories about this. They also did it they did it in the United States and Canada in children's homes to see what effects the different kinds of poisonous gas would have on the children.
Okay.
And there's also it's not proven, but there's evidence to suggest they tested it in different schools as well, putting different gases into the ventilation system
And
of
what
schools.
does that have to do with poop?
It's to do with the nanny state and how the state treats the people. The state has very little respect for the people. because the people don't protest or do anything, and the fact that that the state is very often at war with the people, and the people don't realize it. Because you were talking about, why is the state so nanified? The state is so nanified because of the mixture of food which has been weaponized, vaccinations which have been weaponized, or healthcare systems that have been weaponized, air spraying, which has been weaponized. The British government tested spraying not only different chemicals by dropping them on different towns and cities to see how the people reacted. They also tested releasing radiation from boats off the coast to let the wind blow the radiation inland to see what effect it had on the residents. These are facts that the British government tested this on the British people. When? You want the year? Yeah. I'm not sure which year.
But I just want to know if it was like during the same era that the USA was blasting nuclear bombs all over everywhere, or whether it was recently. Was it in 2012 or was it in 1952?
I believe, if I remember the story correctly, it was the 1970s or 1980s. They did it with military ships. They parked the military ships off the coast and released the chemicals into the air when the wind was blowing the right direction to blow them inland. There was the
crazy times of all the nuclear testings and
they're sort of
things, right?
Still doing things. They're still doing high altitude aerial spraying across Britain with chemicals that people don't quite know what it is yet. And about 5 years ago, there was gel falling out of the sky in Scotland, and it was like jelly. People were finding like jelly all over their garden, and they're like, "What the hell is this?" And it was the mixture of chemicals that were sprayed in the upper atmosphere falling, and whoa. Okay, so the government took the radiation from the nuclear power plants and dumped it in the different lochs in Scotland, without telling anybody, and that came out like 30, 40 years after they did it. There was the loss of the radiation from the Dounreay power station.
Is that where the Loch Ness come from then?
No, Loch Ness predates that because the Loch Ness stories go back to the 1920s and 30s.
Because you would expect something like that in a lake with a lot of radiation in it, right?
Oh yeah, you would, but
it sounds like something from Scooby-Doo.
Well, that's kind of how it all fits together. People in the end don't believe it because they just think it's a cartoon story, but in actual fact, it's a piece of reality. I think if people fully understood all the elements of everything happening around about them, they wouldn't be able to process it probably. So, as I said, why has society become nanified? It's a nanny state because the people have given up searching for solutions themselves, and every time they have a problem, they ask authority to help them.
Yes, it's a nanny state here, though. So it's not, you've got lots of those things that you just mentioned going on in Slovakia as well, but the state is not nannified there.
Well, because the state doesn't function at all there.
No, it's true. It doesn't give a damn at all.
Well, it openly doesn't give a damn.
Yeah, openly it's completely dysfunctional and criminal. Yeah, everybody knows that. It's like everybody knows that the state is criminal.
Yes, yeah, and that's and everybody knows that it doesn't work, and everybody knows that it's stealing everything, and it's all.
And still nobody does anything about it.
It's all in the open. The only difference in Britain is that Britain are propaganda experts. Britain is no different from Britain on average has a lower quality of life in the standards of life index than it's in the lower 50%. It's not in the top 50% of quality of life index of countries
There is a
worldwide.
massive amount of poor people. I'm in a Facebook group again, because I communicate with the world through Facebook groups. I'm in a Facebook group, which is called Frugal Living, blah blah UK, blah blah blah. So it's got all these poor people in it, trying to survive.
like us, basically.
Yeah. And those posts there, gosh, it's like, I live in a whatever blah blah house, and heating is really costly because we have electrical heating, so we try to save up. And how warm are your houses? It's like there's always posts in the winter like, how warm are your houses, or how warm do you keep them? And there's people like, oh, we've got 12 degrees in the house.
It's fucking freezing. Oh, the house with no the house that we looked at this week with no radiators.
Do you know how many
No
of those
radiators.
are out there with people who just live in like 12, 13 degrees? Oh, just stick an extra jumper on, it's okay. It's just like, it's not okay. It's not even okay for the house.
Well, that's where, like Slovakia is like, well, if it's not, I don't know, what's the...
21.
21, okay, 21 is the temperature. If it's not 21, like, people are up in arms and protesting and complaining, and this is unlivable, and you can't do anything with this if it's not 21 degrees inside. Okay.
Yeah, my mother always complained about schools, right? Because it's hard to keep a school warm. So
No shit.
she'd be like during autumn and in the spring when the temperatures are changing, and she's like, oh, they turned off the heating for the night, and you come in the morning and it's freezing, and blah blah blah. In the winter they keep it on in the night so that it's not freezing in the morning. And I'm like, here it's just it's freezing all the time. Doesn't matter whether it's winter or whatever. It's just, but people are kind of used to it. I mean, do you remember? I was shocked when Will was a little kid and we came here. It's one of the early times that we came here, and Will would be just dressed in everything that he had, including a hat and a scarf and gloves and just everything. And there'd be this kid sitting on the ground in the park in his short sleeves and a snot running halfway down his face. and they were about the same age, right? This kid was like a year, between year and a year and a half.
That guy who took us on the tour of the ancient building,
Yeah.
the smelly disease infested, whatever the hell it was, right?
Yeah.
That guy had snot running down and hanging off the end of his nose.
Yes, I know. And
at the end of the meeting, he was like rubbing it off his nose, and he went to shake my hand, and I was like, "Fuck off!" Right? He's like, he went to shake my hand, and he was looking at me, and I was like, "Are you?" I didn't say anything. I just looked at him. I was thinking, "Are you completely fucking insane?"
Well, it wasn't insane. He was obviously slightly slower.
What, you mean retarded?
Yes.
Okay.
I think. Well, that's what retarded means. Slower.
We've had this conversation before.
Okay.
In this series.
Well, I'm just saying that.
Oh no, we didn't. It was the parenting series we did.
Yeah, I'm just saying that you used.
If I say je suis retardé, does that mean that I'm slow? Something.
Yeah, it means that you're late.
Oh, because late. Of course, it's late. Yes. Okay.
Because you're later to process, obviously. Anyway, so yeah, it was obviously.
Look, here's a Persian rug. No, that looks like some disease-infested blanket imported from Africa like 200 years ago and stuck on the wall, and I wouldn't touch it with a fucking barge pole.
Well, you weren't supposed to touch it. And a big sign saying "Don't touch."
It was fucking hanging on the wall on the way in. It was sort of difficult to not. And who'd want to touch that anyway? It did actually look like somebody had used it as a fucking.
Well, what do you expect if it's bloody 400 years old?
It doesn't look 400 years old. It just looks dirty.
Well, let's see what your rugs look like in 600 years, actually.
Well, I fucking hope no one's got any of them. Because it would be pretty fucking awful if they did.
No, they're probably all made out of plastic, so they would probably be quite fine in 600 years.
Look, it's
I loved it. I loved the tower.
You what?
I loved the tower.
What?
I absolutely loved it.
Excuse me? Please explain this. What? To me, it was an... Okay, you look at it from the outside and you're like, it's kind of got this sort of nice little shape about it, and it's kind of quaint and sort of Rapunzel-y. But go inside of it and it's cold, dark, wet, damp.
What would you expect, for fuck's sake, from a Middle Age? It's the Middle Ages. It was a building from Middle Ages. The Middle Ages were cold, dark, wet, and disease-infested.
Yeah, well, I don't expect it to be an attraction.
It communicated exactly what it was supposed to communicate to you. What those times were like. And that was without the hole in the floor.
I don't need to see ugly things. I mean, I'm not saying that.
But you do.
But I'm not. Like, I'm not saying that ugly shouldn't exist and it doesn't have its place. But I don't need to go and visit it.
But that's history. History is ugly. For me,
not
it was
all history.
For me, it was very, very interesting,
nice parts are
because you could see how people lived. You could imagine that there were guards and there that
they must have been fucking tiny. I bumped my head on every doorway in that place.
Well, we know that for a fact that people were smaller in the past.
Dwarves. Is that where Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs comes from? Because they must have been dwarves. I mean, first of all, the doors were tiny, and the spaces were tiny. Where the fuck did they have beds? Did they have beds? Did they sleep on the floor? I mean,
no, they probably just slept in a hay on the floor. But that's the thing.
Horses.
You could see how hardy those people were, right?
How ill they were.
And I thought it was really fascinating. And upstairs and all the way up in the little bastion or whatever you call it, with those,
what?
You know, the little balcony that you came out of and shot the arrows from and through those holes. And he was showing us that, you see, this hole was pointing directly at the door, so if people wanted to go in through the door, if they had a ladder.
Well, it's just like, the place was protected because it wasn't steps up to the front door, as if a marching army wouldn't have a fucking ladder. You know, I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean,
well, it would make it slightly more difficult to have to put up a ladder.
Oh, because
when you put up a ladder, you have to go up one by one, and then you can shoot them one by one from up where you're standing. Because you have a hole pointing
directly at the door. You shoot them one by one if they come up the bloody steps.
Well, it's easier to come through the steps in groups rather than on the ladder. Anyway.
So they carry two ladders with them.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I'm sure they could have worked that one out.
Listen, are you going to argue with me that going up a ladder is the same as going up steps?
No, I'm making the argument that the place wasn't well defended.
It had a huge metal grate at the back of the door, which you haven't seen because you were already outside. It had a huge
it was cold and wet and
metal cagey grate type thing made out of bars that were about that thick that you closed behind the door. And the wooden door, had those studs in it everywhere to blunt the axe if people were trying to axe it down. And even if they did axe it down, there was a huge metal door right behind it, so they couldn't get through that if they tried.
They wouldn't fucking axe it down, they'd burn it. It's wood. They wouldn't fucking axe it.
Well, that's why they did burn it, actually.
There you go!
They did burn the tower's roof, apparently. And it has been rebuilt in such a way that it doesn't contain any wood, so that it couldn't be burnt again. The only wood there was where the doors.
Yeah, it's not going to stop a fucking piece of dynamite, is it?
Well, I imagine they didn't have dynamite in 15th century.
Well, yeah, they didn't have it till the mid-19th century.
Yeah, so. And I don't think that there was anybody trying to get in the mid-19th century.
No, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Hiding their cash.
Wait a minute. Dynamite did not exist, but gunpowder did.
Well, in the 15th century.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well,
Because
obviously nobody blasted the tower.
because the Chinese were using it.
Well, that's great. Good for them.
And so
The
they
Scottish weren't
they must have
obviously.
had it in other cultures as well. You know, the rich people must have, yeah, I mean, look at the people were using cannons, right? People were using cannons.
Okay, Google. When was the gunpowder first used in Britain?
What?
According to Wikipedia, the earliest chemical formula for gunpowder appeared in the 11th century Song dynasty text, Wu Jing Zongyao. However, gunpowder had already been used for fire arrows since at least the 10th century. To read more, look for the link in your Google Home app.
Where did gunpowder come to Britain? Okay, Google. When did gunpowder come to Britain?
They don't know that.
According to Wikipedia.org, gunpowder was invented in 7th century China and spread throughout
There you
most
go.
parts of Eurasia by the end of the 13th century.
Okay.
Do you want a little more context?
No, thank you.
So,
No problem.
it's what I said. I said China.
By the end of the 13th century. Okay.
Absolutely. So, and we can imagine it was worldwide, and that's probably only because of modern records. Because if you're telling me that ancient Egypt did not have gunpowder or a similar,
I don't know what they had.
yeah, exactly, or did not have a similar compound. Of course they did. They had.
Well, you don't know that either, so.
Well, obviously.
You can say, of course they did, but you don't know.
Yeah. Well, how else did they, cut up the stones for those giant buildings if they didn't have chemical formulas and the abilities to do things?
Look, I have no idea how they did those giant buildings.
Yeah, of course.
They
didn't fucking chip it out by hand. Okay, they had chemical compounds that they understood. The same way as the ancient Mayans had chemical compounds because they discovered that a lot of the ancient Mayan stones were actually a special type of clay that was used to shape the stones. So there you go. Anyway, a special hardened type of clay that made the stones, that made the clay as hard as rocks. Anyway, so yeah, the idea that yes, that is better than no defense, but the idea that the tower is, I mean, it was very easily surrounded. You could have burned anything wooden that's there. You would have had gunpowder to make holes in things, and then a little bit extra gunpowder, and you'd make a little hole in the wall, and you'd stick the gunpowder in, and you'd light it, and that would blow a hole in the wall. It's not.
Well,
that
I'm
complex.
not.
Cannons make big holes in things.
I wasn't absolutely sure about what the guy was saying because he had a stutter and a lisp at the same time. But so
It's not funny. It's not funny.
It was a bit difficult for me to understand him.
He was a direct descendant of.
Yeah, he was of the person who built it, basically. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, on one hand, it must be nice to have a piece of family history attached to you and, place where you live and everything. On the other hand, I was thinking like, well, obviously my ancestors were fucking rich, so what the hell happened with the money, right? Why couldn't they?
That's what happened.
Why couldn't they just, invest in real estate in London or something? They freaking had to leave me this half ruined tower in the middle of nowhere instead of a city house in the center of town, right?
Look, you get it. That tower could be a massive tourist attraction, and you'd build a little coffee shop or cafe, and people would have their coffee and their cake and their tour, and you could build a nice little business off that there.
Well, as we've already settled, the guy was obviously not fully capable, so I don't think that creating business plans and attracting customers was in his capabilities.
Maybe. I mean,
Okay.
It could just be some kind of autism, and so the autistic people, or people with autistic tendencies, sometimes function very well.
Well, I'm not going
the
to
business
diagnose
world.
him because I don't know enough information for that, but I can tell that he obviously knew a lot about his family history and a lot about the place as well, which was quite fascinating. He was obviously very interested in history, and he just had a lot of information that he knew about it. So that was pretty
Oh
cool.
yeah, but get this point, and correct me if I'm wrong, but he could have invested something in cleaning the place. The place was full of bird shit on the inside everywhere.
There was
There were
bullshit, yeah.
piles of it on the floor in various places, and that's obviously like disease and unhealthy and whatever. And so, look, you get a fucking garden hose, and you go in and you hose out all the shit that's in there.
But have to be bloody very, very long garden hours.
Yes, you get long garden hoses, surprisingly, right?
Right.
Yeah, and you like and you hose that out and you clean it out, and it would take
Look, I imagine
week
he
of work.
cleans it
And
out quite regularly, because if he didn't, then there
how
would
the
be much,
fuck
much,
did it?
much more bird poop. That looked like, well, maybe a few months of worth of bird poop. Maybe he didn't get to
Well, then
clean
you
it
fucking
after
seal
winter
it up,
just
don't you?
yet.
You seal it up so that the birds don't fucking get in. There can't be that many holes, right? I mean, you seal them up. I mean, most of the windows, if not all of them, had windows over the iron parts, right? So there must only be a couple of other little holes. So unless there's some weird way that animals can get in there.
Like through the giant chimney.
Yeah, but the fireplaces were sealed up
Mm.
so that they couldn't be lit. So that wouldn't be viable. No, it just the idea of it being dirty. It would take a week of work
Mm-hmm.
to clean out the place, get it clean.
Look,
so
the
that
guy
people-
is there to take care of it by himself, and he's obviously taking care of himself as a challenge. Okay, so I wouldn't be too hard on him.
I'm not being hard on him. I'm just pointing out what needs to be done. I'm not saying that he's done anything wrong. I'm just saying it could be so much better.
Well, it could be so much better. Of course, it could be so much better. Which isn't. We don't have all the information. We don't know whether it's under protection of. It's everything. All old buildings in the region, right? Even privately owned, are under the council. Conservation, protection, blah blah blah.
What are they going to do?
whatever,
Fine you for doing
heritage.
something to your own building?
Yada yada yada.
That's
Yes,
ridiculous.
and you're not allowed to do
They won't
things.
even know.
And you're not
They
allowed.
won't even know. They don't have any right. Private property is private property. No one has any rights onto what happens basically on your land except you.
And that's where you're wrong. Unless that building is considered as national heritage and is protected under the whatever law, conservation law. In that case, it can be your private property, but you can't do fuck all about it. You have to keep it as it is. Why do you think that the giant house in Kingston, the white, the one that used to be the boat house or whatever it was, has no new windows in it? Because they're not even allowed to put in plastic windows in the house because it's considered a whatever, protected building of historical importance.
Yeah, look, it was the same with this place.
Yes.
But there's ways around that.
Yes.
For intelligent people.
Yes. And if somebody found out...
yeah, you can't...
You could be in trouble.
That's not an argument that I think works anymore for anybody. If somebody found out, that's living in fear of the fact that somebody's going to want to do something bad to you.
Look, I understand that. I'm just saying
that's
that
a non-argument.
This guy has to, obviously, well, according to what your parents said, according to what he told them, no matter what he wants to do with the building, he has to get permissions and he needs to get funding because he doesn't have any money to, invest in it by himself. So he has to ask for funding from the government, because that's government protected, whatever it is, and for sponsors and for investors or whatever.
Yeah,
to be able to do reconstructions to it. So I imagine it's not that easy. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of oxymoronic phrase to say government protected.
It's a bit of a white elephant, if you ask
Because
me.
they're not protecting it; they're actually making it worse if you can't upgrade it.
I think that for him is a bit of a white elephant. It could be a good investment. It could be. It can be an
work if
asset.
you want it to work.
Yeah, it can be an
make it work.
asset, and it can be a liability. And I think that maybe in his situation, it might be more of a liability than an asset. But it's all individual, and it depends on the owner, doesn't it? It has a
It's
huge
got
potential.
space around it.
Mhm.
You could set up a little shop. You could set up a little cafe. You could clean out the place. It's next to the main communications road. You put a flag on top of the building, and people will be able to see it from the road, and they'll go like, "What's that flag over there?" And people will be like, "Oh, well, that's the castle or the house or the fucking whatever it was."
Of course, you could do things with it.
There's massive potential there, and you know what? It's not like, well, tourists don't come here. It's fucking tourists driving up and down that road constantly, right? And they're always looking for places to go. And the fucking castle trail is here. So the potential to tap into an already massive market is even greater. And people are always looking for new things to do anyway.
I know that. I get it, G. I get it, and you get it, and maybe, and I'm saying maybe because I'm not sure about this. Maybe if it was you and me, we would be able to do something about it. Maybe, but he obviously wasn't. So you can theorize about it, but it's not going to change anything. I mean, you saw his house. His house was in slight state of disrepair.
Yeah, there's and for dedicated people who are prepared to put, say, 10 years work into that, because it's a 10-year project. They would definitely have something after the 10 years, and imagine the resale value of the property.
Yeah,
imagine
I know.
That would be in the millions.
It was beautiful though. I just thought it was, just everything. He had the house. He had the small house for the what do you call him, the forester guy, and then the tower. It's just wow. It's a huge land. It's just wonderful. It was wonderful. Could we move there and fix it up? Could we buy it and fix it up, and you could have bed and breakfast in the house, and we could live in a forester house and rent out the big one as bed and breakfast, and have a little restaurant in it. Because they had like a big patio on the side of the house with glass all around it. You could have a little restaurant in there, so people could see outside, and you could have a little shop and everything.
You wouldn't even need much at first, because you'd clean and scrub out the inside, and then you'd have like King's Chamber Castle bed and breakfast, blah blah blah.
I love that. It's a great marketing name for it. King's Chamber Castle, blah blah blah.
Yeah, exactly. I imagine you'd have a problem with you'd have great problems with toilet facilities and things like that.
The Earl of Coxton. It even has a funny name.
Is that what it's called? Coxton's Tower?
Coxton, yeah. It's the Coxton Tower.
Coxton Tower. Well, ton means town, right?
Well, there you go. Welcome to the Coxton.
Well, yeah, because Kingston was the king's town. So ton means town.
The Coxtown.
So Coxtown.
Well, there you go. Anyway.
It probably just meant farmer's town or You know, a place where you got eggs or something like that.
Maybe a place where there was a lot of grouse.
Yeah, the bird farm or something. I don't know if there's such a thing. Or there's big fat birds that don't really fly very much.
Oh, I could tell the stories. I could read the family history and tell the stories to the visitors.
Well, you could do all the fairy tale stuff with Rapunzel's tower.
About no, well, I would tell that to the children. But I would tell, you know, it's,
You got natural theatre there as well. You could have theatre stuff. See, it's huge
yeah,
potential.
I've seen it. Yeah, you could absolutely. Oh my God, you could do the historical games there. You could have those historical sword fighting groups, you know, doing like reenactions and stuff. Like reenaction of surrounding the tower or something.
Yeah, you'd also need some kind of X-ray of the surrounding land, because obviously there were other buildings there at some point in time.
X-ray of the land. Do they do that?
Yeah, you fly.
You have to take the land to the hospital.
They fly planes over, and they do these special photographs. You could do it from a drone, actually. You don't need a plane. You could do it from a drone. That wouldn't cost anything at all. Just get a drone and a camera to take pictures, and then you analyze the pictures to work out where the ancient buildings were in the area. You look at the contours of the land.
I know.
And you got the Gallows Hill and Gallows Tree.
Yeah, exactly. There's so much history. There's so much history in everywhere around this area, really. So.
Yeah, well, imagine that. I mean, there's nothing else in this surrounding sort of 5 miles, right? So you've got that sort of region. So there's the potential for development of a place like that for people who would be willing to put in the.
Maybe we should give him an offer. You know, we should we'll develop your estate if you let us live in the forester house.
Yeah, for someone it's a nice project. I don't fancy dealing with that guy. Just because I don't know, just because I don't. I just, or maybe I'm just being lazy about the idea, because it would require a huge amount of effort. I mean, and I can't ever see the project ever. I can't ever see that sort of happening, because that guy's going to obviously grow old there and die there, and somebody's going to have to wait until he dies for the property to pass to somebody else, and they'll want to
the government probably.
It's
probably just going to become a government's property.
It could be that they would take it over, and they might develop it, but they might not. They might just
right. If anything still works in this region by that time, because obviously the council here is extremely depleted of money, and they might just look at it and say, "Oh well, it would be nice if we had the money."
That's the illusion, you see. The council wants everybody to think that they don't have money. The council has a lot of money. It's not true that the council don't have money. The council has a massive amount of money. The thing is,
but they use it for other things.
Well, no. The problem is they're expanding their workforce and their projects, and what they're not counting for is they don't have the money for the expansion.
Well, they're not really. They're certainly not expanding Lossiemouth Library.
No, well, this is the point.
Or the forest swimming pool.
Well,
that's facing closure.
They've expanded their workforce and their projects and their services to the point where they're unsustainable and they have to make cuts in other areas. For example, are you telling me that the companies that are involved right now in building all the new roads are not making huge profits?
They are.
They are making huge profits, and that's why there's no swimming pool money. There's no money for swimming pools because the council is taking the profits completely. Why are you showing me a book? Stick a Barbarian here.
I think it's funny.
Is that a sticker book?
Yeah.
Okay.
It says sticker barbarian here.
As you do.
Yep.
As you do. So, it's not the fact that the council doesn't have money, it's the fact that they are overextending what they think they can do by pledging money that they don't have for projects that they can't sustain because they don't know how to count. Because the truth is they actually do know how to count, but they just pretend that they don't.
Yeah, I get it. This is so cool. I love this book. I have to do this with the kids.
What, the ancient Roman sticker book?
Yeah, it's so good. It was so cheap in Lidl's as well. Because it's got so much information in it that you don't normally get. Like, for example, the types of food that Romans ate. You don't usually learn about that. Look, peacock's brains, goose, cheese, pig's udders. Pig's udders and pig's feet. It's pretty cool.
Did you buy it in Lidl's?
Yeah.
When were you in Lidl's?
Ages ago. I got this one ages ago. I was in Lidl's with Jadko looking for sausage. Just after we came here.
Jadko's always looking for his sausages.
Months ago. It was 5 months ago or so when I bought this book. And I was in Lidl's also on Thursday. But they didn't have anything interesting. But I heard Aldi is full of educational stuff. You
were in Lidl's on Thursday?
Yes.
When?
Well, what do you think I was doing during the girls' yoga class?
Oh, I thought you were. There with them, sort of waiting for them and observing them and stuff.
Well, I was doing that for a while, but you kind of don't have anywhere to sit, and you feel like
it's yoga. You sit on the floor.
And you feel like a creep because nobody else is waiting and observing the girls. So it was like standing in the there was the gym part where they had the yoga, and then there was glass, the slidey door, and then there was a little room where you could wait and see them through the glass. Really, I could have waited on the chair, but I just felt like I'm going to disrupt the class if I stick around, because I felt that the kids could get, distracted, especially my kids.
Fair enough.
And especially Jasmine. And then you had that little room, between the glass and the outside glass. But it had no chairs. So I got outside, and there was a bench outside that I sat on for a while, but I got bored. I went to Lidl's. And I bought avocados. And olives, and I came back and ate the olives and not the avocados, and that was it.
Interesting.
I know.
Lidl's is cool because you never know what you're going to find. It's like a
it's a treasure hunt for adults.
Yeah, it is. It's an old bazaar market.
Bazaar. Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely.
The Grand Bazaar.
There was nothing interesting on Thursday, however.
That's because you went on Thursday.
But when I got these, I know. When I got these sticker books, it was really cool because I got Romans and Egyptians. They didn't have any Greeks.
No?
No, they just had Romans and Egyptians.
That's Greekist. Greekism.
Yeah, I know.
To not have those.
It's terribly Greekist. Anyway, I think it's really good. As I already stated several times.
Is that a good book?
Sticker History, Ancient Roman sticker book by
Osborne Press, because they make everything.
Yeah, they make everything that is really, really cool.
Some of the stuff is kind of cool, but I always just wonder how they make profit on that.
It's not Osborne.
No? Penguin.
Imagine that.
Some kind of weird. An elephant being lifted up by a butterfly. Excellent.
Imagine
That's
that.
a great logo. Well, I'm imagining. I'm wondering how anybody can make any profit at all, considering that book company quoted me £2,700 for 500 books
Yeah, that's
printing,
quite.
which is extortionate. I'm pretty sure that I could get it for. I know I could get it for less than half that price in Slovakia,
Yeah,
and that's absolutely
we have to watch our time today.
that's absolutely insane. Yes, I know. I'm aware of the fact that the schedule has changed because
7:22.
I have to drive to the metropolis of Aberlour, which the whole town is fueled by whiskey and shortbread.
Isn't Everton?
No wonder the people look sick.
7:22. 8:22.
I looked at the map of how to get there.
What time do you have to leave?
If I leave here at 8:30 exactly, we will probably be
10 minutes late.
Which is probably
Well,
accurate.
you're supposed to be there 50, right?
Yeah, but it's a different place and it's outside and I don't know where to park, and if I get there early, I'm just going to be hanging around. And
Yes, I know, but that's what I'm saying. You're not going to get there early if you leave 8:30, because you're supposed to be there 8:50.
Yeah, it'll take 20 minutes to get there.
Well, Google said 27. Plus looking for parking, plus trying to find the place.
I imagine you'll be able to park right next to the place when you get there, and providing I don't take any wrong turns or
But do you know where you're going? Do you know where the high school is?
I just told you I've looked at the map. I just said that. I started the conversation by saying I looked at the map.
You looked at the map, okay.
About how to get there. So in fact, there were two roads, and I was wondering which road that I should take. And
well, we're finishing in 5 minutes, so
we've got time. We've got time. We need to do another 15 minutes.
you need to get Will up, though.
Oh, he'll get up.
Get him suited, find his shin pads, which is going to take about half an hour.
Where's the maps? Here's the maps. I'll open up on my rather ancient tablet here.
Rosetta Stone.
It kind of is. You expect to have to chisel something out on it in order to leave a note. Look, it's already green, but it's not going to be green. It's going to be brown. Because on Google everything looks perfect. Directions to Speyside High School. I was wondering if I should go round the front of the building or round the back. There we go.
It looks like in the middle of a forest.
Scotland doesn't have forest.
No.
No. There you go. That's it. Conval Drive. And
what? Convulsion Drive.
It's next to the Paul sitting service. There you go.
What?
Oh look, the school's designed as a square.
Of course it is.
With a space.
Is that the AstroTurf?
Well, it sort of crossed my mind that might be the AstroTurf, except AstroTurf is not brown.
No.
And
what colour is it?
green, surprisingly, because it's turf, for God's sake.
Well, I don't know what turf means.
Turf means grass.
Oh. So AstroTurf is a star grass.
Yes. It basically means technical grass. They call it AstroTurf to make it sound cool, because it was like designed in the 60s or 70s, or I don't know, when astro was a cool word to use.
I'm not sure that time is actually on the timeline of human history, but never mind.
What?
The time when the word astro was cool.
Yeah, well, you'll find, like, I'm sure there's at least one comic book character called Astro Man or something like that. I'm sure it was cool at one point in time. What?
I'm pretty sure there's not.
Yeah? Okay, here we go. Okay, Google. Who was Astro Man? wasn't loud enough, was it?
On the website megaman.fandom.com, they say, Astro Man is a robot master from Mega Man 8 who was originally built to work in a planetarium, but Dr. Wily reprogrammed and modified him for combat.
So it was a robot.
Modified for combat by some doctor in some cartoonish world. There we go.
Okay, I stand corrected.
Of course you do. Right. It's somewhere there. It shouldn't be too complicated. It's bed and look. They've it's all bed and breakfast place. There's this churches, bed and breakfast, visitor centre.
What else is there to see in Aberlour? I mean, where
There's
would
nothing.
anybody
Walker's
go?
shortbread factory.
Well, you've got that in Elgin as well, though.
Yeah, but this is Walker's is the home. The factory's there. That's where Walker's factory is. It's in Aberlour. Look.
Well, what's in Elgin?
A shop.
Well, there's
Distribution.
distribution. Is that why everything was smell of freshly baked shortbread? I think they bake shortbread there as well, no?
They
in
might
Elgin.
have an element of production there. That would make
Oh,
sense.
I'm pretty sure they
Because there
do.
was that sweet smell in the air the other day, which smelled exactly like hot cross buns, if I remember.
No, it smelled exactly like Millionaire shortbread. A
What,
mixture
shortbread?
of shortbread and toffee. Millionaire
What the
shortbread.
hell's Millionaire shortbread?
What? You don't know what's Millionaire shortbread?
Is it expensive shortbread? Oh, I don't.
I can't believe
does it
it.
cost a
I
million?
thought you were Scottish.
I am
I
fucking
think you're just
Scottish.
pretending. It's
What
shortbread.
the fuck is? I've never heard of Millionaire short. It's the first time I've ever heard the term.
It's like
millionaire.
shortbread at the bottom, and then you've got a layer of toffee,
Oh, of course, it has to be like
or like
shortbread
Scottish
with extra
tablet or
shit on
something.
it, right? Okay.
And then you've got a layer of chocolate on top of the toffee,
Oh, shortbread
with
Toffee.
toffee and chocolate.
and chocolate.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's healthy. Right.
Nobody said it was healthy. But it's
nobody said
called
it was gonna be
Millionaire
easy.
shortbread, and that's what it smelled like in the air. Like shortbread and toffee.
It must have been difficult for you,
What?
just like smelling shortbread and toffee walking the road.
It's about as difficult for me as it was for you.
Why was it difficult? It wasn't. What?
Exactly.
Yes, but you're the sort of like need to have some chocolate or some Kit Kat or some caramel wafer or some Scottish. They've done the grass like a Scottish flag in that area.
That's just the paths, no? It's just the footpaths.
Yeah, it's like a Scottish flag.
Well, only it's not blue.
Well, you don't get blue grass, do you?
Yes, you do.
This music. You know what I mean. You paint it blue, I suppose. There. I'll get there. You can see the sports tracks.
You've just been shuggling with the map of the high school for the past like 5 minutes,
Well, I'm
making
looking
it
for
bigger and smaller.
I've
and
been looking
bigger
for
and
interesting
smaller.
shapes and design. Look, you can see the running track and the grass.
Poor
And
kids.
the long jump pits. It's a sign.
You can just imagine that as the place of suffering for many. It was for me when I was at high school. Okay, now we're going to have the 12-minute runs. Go.
Oh, it sounds like something that would make you want to go to the toilet.
I was so desperately unfit back. After 12 minutes of running, I was dragging my tongue on the bloody turf.
In it bloody, I imagine.
Yes.
There you go. There you go.
It was actually one of my friends once, the finish and almost died. There was some glass. Because we used a track that was not a school track, it was a public place. You know, you had to get out of the school and cross
Yeah,
the
of
road,
course
and
at the
walk
end
down the city.
At the end of the 100 meters was the best place to drink and smash your bottles.
Yeah, and there was a place where everybody would drink and smash bottles. In the bleachers, as they call them. And there was some glass on the track, and a friend of mine tripped at the finish line and slid down and cut their
Okay, I'm going to
wrists.
test your ability to pronounce Scottish place names.
Okay.
Okay. So this is the road that I have to take today. Okay, this blue line.
Mm.
So we start with
Do I have to be
what?
able to see it?
Yeah, it's just, you require your glasses for that, I believe, which are
Uh-huh.
there.
I know.
Okay. So if I take this road, the blue road, I first arrive at,
Was dat lach?
then
Dipple.
see, it's funny. All the Scottish place names are really funny.
It sounds like nipple said by somebody who's got a cold.
Okay.
Or Bliston. Inchberry. Those berries that are 1 inch big. Botobrig. What the frick is a botobrig?
I could do that one.
Some kind of bridge. Och.
Almost.
Ochenro. Ochenrolf. Rolfus. Guacamole.
Yeah, there you go.
What is that? Wait. It's Kregalachi. It's not guacamole.
Almost. And if I take the white road, I have to go through.
Maggie's knickers. What's that? Maggie Knock Eater. What? Maggie Nocator. How do you pronounce that?
That sounds like a really bad computer program. It's Maggie Knockater.
Maggie Nocator. Somebody who knocked up Maggie.
Yeah, and they live there.
Right. Boharm. I would not want to live in Boharm. Och, another och. Och, Lankert. Och, Lankert. Malben, that's easy.
Okay, and so and
Vogelbers.
around the roads we have.
Bogmore.
Yeah.
And we have Bake Bear. Yes. It's gonna be hot when you're baking, so you want a bake bear.
Okay.
What? Is that some kind of medicine name? Botrifni. Botrifni or Botripni? How do you...
I have no idea. I have no idea. I'm from here.
Botrifni.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they just want places with impossible
And
pronunciation.
Drumweir.
And yes, along with Achart, Moss of Barmuckety. You like that one, don't you?
Moss of Barmuckety. I know where I want to live. I want to live at Moss of Barmuckety.
It's really not a very pretty name. Longmorn,
Fogwart.
Fogwart, Tom's Hill.
And Glen Laterach.
And there you go.
What's
There's a
that?
few.
Nocando. I want to live in Nocando.
I believe it's pronounced no can do.
Oh. I thought it was just like commando. But with knocking.
Where we go? We have to travel through Commando. Here we go. Lagin, Ballandala.
No can do. It's called no can do.
Yes.
We live there.
No can do. Sorry. It's just look.
Backside. I live in the backside.
There's a place called Arse.
It's a bit smelly.
It means arse,
It's a bit smelly there. Hoch.
which is next
Hoch
to.
of glass.
You can't even pronounce it.
Sucketh. I will sucketh your backside.
Yeah, I know. Sucketh next to your backside. They are right next to each other.
It's probably called sucketh upon backside.
It could be. I mean, that's.
Maggie Knocker was quite cool. Maggie Knockeater. Whatever it is. Dandelief.
What?
Dandelief.
There you go.
That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Easter Elgies. People just love their g. in this part of the world.
They do. I think they put it in just because English people can't pronounce it.
Ah, to spite them.
There's a lot of space.
Okay, so I would like to live in no can do.
No can do.
Or the backside.
I'd live in can do. Slightly more positive.
Or the barmuckety.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Flappity flippers.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
As Jasmine says.
Lots of ridiculous names. Anyway, that is the path that my future holds in store.
So
26 minutes.
good. While you're there, could you look for a house
Sure.
in
Sure.
Succoth-upon Backside?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'll make it a priority.
I'll stick it in Zoopla and see what comes out.
So it comes out the backside.
Yeah.
I'll tell you exactly what that's going to be.
Okay, bye-bye everyone. I have to go and get Will up. He's gonna hate me forever.
You're going to get him up?
You will. He won't have any time to have breakfast, G. Unless you wake him up now. And you know what he's like in the morning.
Well, like you.
Well, like overly over-emotional and extremely hungry. Unless he's got 3 rounds of breakfast, he's not ready to live.
He's not until he has 3 breakfasts. There's
Yeah.
no way he could survive
Without 3
without
breakfasts.
3 breakfasts.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, I'm up. I'm
Yeah.
doing that. I'm just so thankful I don't have to get the girls up.
yeah, it's a bit easier when when you don't have to do that. Out of 2 hours, I'm going to have to hang out there and wait.
Today's my 4-week
He plays football.
4-week anniversary.
Yes.
4-week anniversary of.
And you know what you can do? You can do your exercise Xbox thing.
I could.
Or is it one of those no can do things?
So now there's no can do things because I have a huge list of things to tidy up and I've got a huge list of things to do as well. Work-wise, I need to study for the Netflix test, and then I have to do the Netflix test.
You could just watch Netflix.
Right. If it was that easy.
It is actually.
I don't think your mother has it on Sky.
We get it on the Xbox actually.
Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's like Netflix is no, not Netflix. The Xbox has a lot of net-based functions, so you can actually get Netflix through the Xbox.
Aye, but you have to pay for it, no?
Yes, you have to pay for everything, I suppose. And for people who like that stuff, it's sort of worth it, right? I mean, how much is Netflix per month?
I don't know, but Netflix got cool stuff. They've got that Brainchild that everybody talks about on the homeschool, in the homeschool circles.
Yeah, they got good stuff. You have to wonder how that works out economically for them, because to make all of those programs and play all of those
Although
people.
the Arrows and the Flash is from Netflix, no?
I don't believe it is.
No, it's not. Wait, what was it from Netflix?
The Lost in Space was Netflix.
Yes.
The
Wasn't Buddy Thunderstruck?
Buddy
as well?
Thunderstruck was Netflix.
It was,
yeah.
wasn't it?
Yes.
What else?
I don't know, lots of stuff, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff out there. I mean, it strikes me that why is... You asked the question earlier, why is like society kind of the way it is, right?
Did
Why-
I ask that question?
Well, you were like, why is it so dumbed down in certain ways? In
I
certain areas?
didn't really ask a question there.
You didn't ask a question. You made a statement.
You answered it. I didn't ask it, but you answered it.
Well, you
that's
made
for
a
sure.
statement about it, right? And one of the reasons is you're right. It wasn't a question, but you pondered through making a statement about it. And but one of the reasons is the entertainment, right? The entertainment is so
entertaining,
invasive that if you go to school and your timetable is filled with school,
we don't.
and then outside of school you got your social activity or your sports activity or your friends or whatever, and then maybe you do something else, like a computer game, or you like a film or a TV series, or you spend time on social media on your phone or whatever. That's it. Your day's gone. That's it. Gone. Your day. That's your day. Gone. Done. And you don't have time for even all of those things together. So the next day you're playing catch up, and so you don't get anywhere because you're trapped in the world of so-called edutainment. And people are trapped in that world. They don't learn anything outside of the spectrum. They don't learn anything outside of the box. They don't learn any more than the basics.
I have to stop now because not because you're being boring, but
boring you,
because I need to get Will up, and I don't want him to have to rush and stress out and not have time to eat breakfast. So I'm gonna finish. Bye bye.
Okay, see you later. I just chat away. I just chat away by myself here, to myself, for myself, with myself. Just using as many prepositions as. Are you okay? You're moving very funny.
I'm in pain.
Good exercise program. Yeah. There you go. And so life goes on. See you later, guys.